Hello dear friends, my name is Vasily, RN6LHF from Taganrog from Expert Electronics. Today I'll tell you about ExpertSDR3 software, what's made for today, what was done by programmers and what new we will see in the end release in the end of August. And we will talk about new features. I will read your questions and try to answer you about something else. And I will tell you about eCoder 2 panel, about manufacturing, and I will tell you about my new project and so on. Okay, today I'll switch my gadget. ExpertSDR3, as you know, released every month. I think it's normally it's about end of each month, and next release we plans to release it in the end of August. And now in the middle of August I want to show you what's done and we'll tell you about what's new you'll see. And firstly, I want to say that version will be incremented to 0.9.0 090. Let's see. This is a text from a programmer, which he gave me, and here's a Russian text. Don't worry, I will translate it to you. Firstly, was made delays, signal delays when you switch to TX and go back to RX mode. It means that you put radio to TX mode and you press foot switch, maybe my mic button or something else, and radio goes to TX without signal. We called it cold switching, without signal. And then after delay time the signal goes to transmitting. Yes, and the same in switching when you go from TX to RX mode. Firstly, voice or any other signal will stop, and then radio switch stay from TX to RX stay, and it also in cold mode without signals. It was made in the ExpertSDR3 software. You know all this, and most of all used RX to TX delay. If you use external PA with hard relays contacts and long switching time, and it's okay. But in ExpertSDR3 it was added just now. As you know, ExpertSDR3 growing up every time, and our target to get full functionally like ExpertSDR2 software, but with new features which not present in the ExpertSDR2 software. Okay, next function was made function of a PA switch in tune mode. Okay, when you use tune mode, you you can switch off PA switch if you use external power amplifier, and when you use tune mode, and if you want to use tune mode without PA, you can set this switch in the settings, in the options menu, use in tune mode, PA category, use in tune mode. If you switch on this switch, this control, your radio goes to DX and use external PA. If you switch off this control, your PA will not used in transmitting when you transmit carrier in tune mode. Okay. Okay. In the first in the first versions, one second. In the first releases of ExpertSDR3 software, you saw that PA button is not present on the main panel, and in the band manager menu you can find check boxes with for control external PA, like here, and you can set checkbox for each band and use external PA if you want, but you cannot switch off all these checkboxes simultaneously firstly, and you cannot do it fastly. And in a new version 090 we added PA switch stay when you can use global PA button, and you can use checkboxes as in the previous version. This switch, this control here, save by band in PA category, and when you set it save by band, when save by band switched off, you can use PA button on the front panel. But when you set save by band, PA button will be will left it it goes out from main panel, and you can find in the band manager classical for ExpertSDR3 checkboxes. On my mind, I said it in the previous stream about 1 hour ago. In my mind, I can see a third mode for this control. You can set all these checkboxes, and you can switch all these checkboxes, which was set by main PA button. It's on my mind. It's logically well and can be used. Okay, next feature was added spots, showing spots on the spectrum scope. You can switch on spots, and you can use it like a links. You can click by left mouse button to the spots, and the VFO-A goes to this frequency. In old version, in the ExpertSDR2 version software, you can use spots just like indicator, and you can set frequency not accurate course and about near this frequency, but in ExpertSDR3 version you can click to the spot by left mouse button, and the radio goes to this frequency with high accurate and the same frequency as from TCI interface, the same spot frequency. If you press right mouse button onto the spot, you can set VFOB frequency, and radio set VFOB frequency to this spot. It's on my mind. It's interesting and it's useful for us. 7 minutes lifetime of spots and the maximum 50 spots at the same time on the spectrum. Other spots from other bands can be on other bands, but at the same time on this spectrum scope it can be just 50 spots. Okay, let's go next. Was made ATU supporting. One sec. ATU supports now in the ExpertSDR3 version of software. Will support in next release. It was supported ATU for MP1 radio and for DX, SunSDR2 DX. ExpertSDR2 supported already, but ExpertSDR3 just prepare it for it. When you switch on ATU button, this ATU button, ATU goes to TX mode, and it works. Also, when you switch on ATU button and will use ATU, will be showed ATU indicator or ATU memory. If you use ATU, if you start it and adjust impedance, and after it ATU will save settings, will save L and C parameters to memory, software memory, and ATU indicator will show you orange color. It means that ATU on this frequency has any settings, any LC parameters for any antennas, for example. And at the same time, ATU works in 50 kilohertz bandwidth. For example, if you set frequency from 7 to 705 megahertz, 7 and 50 kilohertz, 7 megahertz, 50 kilohertz, tuner will work, will has the same settings for all these 50 kilohertz. But when you change frequency to voice, frequencies from 7.050 and to 7.1 megahertz, tuner has other settings, and if you not adjust tuner in this range, software will show you gray indicator like here. It means that tuner in zero stay and not used here. Okay. Also, when you open settings, options and set in the tuner category stay on TX, radio will stay in TX mode after tuning. I don't know why it is, because it was in the MB1 radio too, and I have not used it, never use it, because I don't know why. If you switch off ATU button on the front panel, tuner will be switched to bypass mode. If tuner ATU not present in your radio, if you have MB1 radio version without ATU, if you not connect ATU to DX external to ATU, ATU button will not be present on the main panel. This button here, no. Okay. How works ATU? If ATU is switched on and you pressed tune button, tuner will start working and will check your SWR, check the SWR of your antenna. If SWR less than 1.25, tuner will inform you tuning not required and will not start it. If SWR higher than 3.5, tuner will show you message, I cannot tune in because SWR is too high. And if I made it, you burn me at full power. Okay, I will. No, guys. If SWR in the range from 1.25 and 3.5, it works. Adjust impedance, and in the end of adjusting shows you message, all okay, I'm tuned. Can you monitor HF and VHF simultaneously yet? It was question from okay, I'll answer you some later. Next feature was made protection system showing protection system information from PA. As you know, SDR3 has MC microcontroller on board. It can measure SWR, MB1 radio also measuring it. And when you go into TX and your SWR higher than 3.5, radio will decrease output power down to 10 watts. As you know, if you use who use MB1 radios, who know the same function was made in the MB1 radio. It's present here. When you try to transmit to beta antennas, output power will decrease down to about 10 watts. The same feature was added to ExpertSDR3 software for SDR3 radio and for MB1 radio. And when you go to RX mode, drive level goes up to 100%, or maybe previous position, previous value you set, and will start transmit with full power at the next time. But if antenna the same and with the same bit SWR higher than 3.5, radio will decrease output power again, and every time again and again, and show you the message. In ATU mode, when you use ATU, this protection not used, and you can send tuning power to your antenna without any protection, but software will decrease tuning power about down to 15-20 watts. Also, next feature was added DSP signal processing for receivers, was added equalizers, was added loudness and tone compensation for different operators' ages. It means, firstly, we have now equalizer for RX mode. We have 5 cells, different cells for different settings, for 5 independent equalizers settings. You can adjust it for different, for example, different headphones. For example, my problem is my Sennheiser headset has good mic. You can see it in my previous, in my videos, in my streams. I'm use Sennheiser headset. It's good headset, but it has low frequencies with high amplitude. I think about 6 or maybe 10 decibels higher than zero line. And in my I hear normal air noises like a waterfall, Niagara waterfall outside of the window, my windows, and it's not comfortable for me. I'm used RX equalizer and try to decrease it by low frequencies controls, and I'm decrease amplitudes for low frequencies. Now the same you can do here, you can make here. Also you can set it to default by this button, and also you can switch on tone compensation, like loudness. When you decrease volume and your listening radio and station with not so loud and weakly, and radio will automatically compensate and will set low and high frequencies with higher level. It's a standard operation for hi-fi audio systems, for players, for good and high quality players. And now it's present here in the ExpertSDR3 software. You can switch on, switch off these functions. You can use equalizer for it. It doesn't matter, but it's present here now. What's about power output management in watts instead of percents of PA? Okay, radio and photos. I'll answer you some later. After features of ExpertSDR3 software. Okay, and new feature, it's tone compensation, which depend of your age. Many equalizers, audio players, and hi-fi electronics audio systems has compensation, tone compensation of which depend on your age, and you can set your age like from 30 to 60 years. It's like me, and the radio will adjust amplitude characteristics of RX equalizers for your age. It's also on my mind. It's not very important function, but it was added here. Next feature was added switching between vertical and horizontal modes of RX2 receiver 2. You can put your second RX second receiver in horizontal orientation. You can put it in a vertical orientation as you want. You can just press right mouse button to RX button, and software will switch orientation between two variants here in ExpertSDR3. Also, next feature was added smart noise reducer. I am asked programmer why you called it SNR. It sounds like a signal to noise radio, but he answered me. It's the first modification of name, but he called it a smart noise reducer. It was added to ExpertSDR3. We have classical noise reducer NR button, like here, and now we have a second button, SNR, smart noise reducer, which based on intelligent algorithms like neural nets, and all these algorithms. We hear three variants. These algorithms studies. We put here noises. We put here voices. Example of voices. And the algorithm studies about 30 minutes for each variant, for each mode. And in the end, algorithms gives you the variant of noise reduction, and it works very well. And we have a classical noise reducer. It's automatic algorithm which reject all fast changed signals like noises, and this algorithm works better on my mind, and it has three variants, A, B, C, and each variant work good, and I think you should try it and give me feedback and give us feedback how it works on your mind. This is a latest feature for today, which I want to inform you. Next steps will be, it's hardware supporting. Will be supported front panel of MB1 radio. It's not supported yet. In ExpertSDR3 software, you can use encoder panel, you can use mouse, but not front panel. In the version 0.090, it will be supported. Also, in our plans to support in this version encoder 2 panel. This is a SDR control panel, which has sound card on board, audio codec on board. Also, we'll edit ATU supported, as I showed you before, and SWR protection. I'm showed you before. Now, encoder 2 panel. It's looks like classical our encoder control SDR control panel, but the main difference you can see on the back panel 4 jack connectors and 6.3 millimeters, 2 standard connectors for PTT foot switch and CW key, and two new connectors for microphone and for headset. Encoder 2 panel has high quality audio codec on board, like in SDR3 it's 114 decibels dynamic range, very good audio codec from professional audio techniques. We put it to SDR3 as a next step of increasing audio quality, and we put it here to Encoder 2 panel. You can use it when your radio stays anywhere, for example for remote control. You can use it if you use one radio for two operators. For example, I know some contest stations use two receivers, first and second, with one antenna. First place works as a run position for CQ. Second operator place used for multipliers. You can find any multipliers and make cursor from second receiver with the same PA, with the same antenna, and two different operators used different encoder panels with foot switch, CW keys, and headsets. And also it can be used when your radio not in remote mode, but on different rooms, other rooms, for example. You can get your laptop and goes to your bedroom, and you can be in the bed and use laptop and the encoder panel for working in there, and your radio stays in your shack, and use high quality sound card on board of encoder panel. Encoder panels made in here in Russia in Taganrog. We already preparing lines, SMT lines, which we have here, and all components, electronic components, already in the SMT machine, and the weight maybe one of 3 components which should be delivered next week, and we will start it soldering encoder 2 panels. Okay, about your questions. Can you monitor HF and VHF simultaneously yet? Not yet, and it's not possible when you use one high-speed ADC, because HF and VHF bands, it's on the different, it's placed on the different Nyquist zone. High-speed ADC can capture at the same time frequencies from 0 up to 80 megahertz in SDR3 radios, and VHF not in this range, and in the second range from 80 to 160 megahertz, and these two ranges we called it Nyquist zones, first Nyquist zones and second Nyquist zones. These Nyquist zones like a mirror for each other, and like a image channel, and when you use HF we cannot use VHF because VHF frequencies, for example 2 meters band, it's like 25 15, it's about 65 megahertz for HF. It means if we will receive 2 meters band at the same time with HF stations, it will be on the 65 megahertz for us. And if any station from 65 megahertz, like all the broadcast stations, all the band, it's popular here in Russia, for example, or maybe some special stations, maybe military stations, will transmit signal at 65 megahertz from 65 megahertz. It will be at the same time received with VHF band on 145 megahertz at the same time. And normally it's not possible to receive from 2 Nyquist zones. It's technically possible, but we cannot guarantee you any interference and reception without interference. And our schematic based on receiving just in one Nyquist zone. When you work in HF, all filters in the input between antenna and high-speed ADC will reject all signals from other bands higher than 65 megahertz. And I think I'm answered on your questions. What about power output management in watts instead of percents of PA? Yes, now ExpertSDR software 2 and 3 operates in percents of signal from DAC, digital to analog converter, but non-linear of PA, of amplitude characteristics, provide us not linear characteristic amplitude, and it be like compressed. And when you goes up in percents, you cannot get the same digits in watts. But our programmers working under new firmware for supporting ALC, and this ALC will be two systems of ALC, internal ALC and external with connector ALC to external PAs. And when we will use it in the firmware, we can set output power in watts and control this output power by signal in percents. But for you, as for user, you can see just watts slider and you can adjust it. I think this is solution because this algorithm, LC algorithm, can control output power. And okay, what's about TXN remote? TXN remote, new expert remote system. Under developing stay now, and I think maybe in the end of September we will finish with the remote in a RX mode, and we'll start working under TX mode because ExpertSDR2 ExpertSDR3 used as client for remote operation, and it has many new features every month. We should support it in the remote, our remote system. I think all main functions for a receiving mode will edit till the end of September, I think, yes. And we can make next step and go to TX mode, and I think it will be finished maybe in November, plus minus. When can we expect full duplex mode in ExpertSDR3 Mac? Full duplex mode will be added to firmware this year. ExpertSDR3 software already prepared for duplex mode. It's already prepared for pre-distortions, and it will be added here when firmware will support it. And I think it's our firmware programmers working on it, and I think till the end of this year we put the ExpertSDR3 software firmware with these features, and put to ExpertSDR3 software functions for duplex mode. But firstly, the main task for us, it's add all functions and get full functionally ExpertSDR3 like ExpertSDR2 and higher. And then, like a next step, I think it will be second version of ExpertSDR3. I think main release will be 1.00, and ExpertSDR3 version with duplex mode will be 2.00 maybe. Okay, so about spectral noise reduction, like NR2 in Open HPSDR. The algorithm is open source. Maybe you can add it in ExpertSDR3. Thank you. Let's try smartener, which was added here. If maybe you like it, I ask you to send us feedback about it. I'll ask programmer to see what's about open algorithm from NR2 from Open HPSDR to study what is it, how it works. Maybe he will try to put it to ExpertSDR3 software. We'll see, why not? Thanks, I hope so. Yes, I hope so too. Okay, in my previous video on my YouTube channel, it was Russian speech video, and I'm talk about my new project. My next video will have correct English subtitles. And what about improvements in NB and NR and IPF? I'm just talk about it before, and here will be new interesting features like smart noise reducer. Dear friends, my new project in my hobby, like a ham radio, I am starts to assembling a remote position from a small village, about 10, maybe 15 buildings, small buildings, like a little village, and I'm with a good, very well air noises, just natural HF noises without any industrial noises, and I'm starting to building. I'm start building remote position. The first step will be it's a tower about 22 meters with tri-bander. 3 elements on 20 meters band, 4 elements for 15 meters band, and 7 elements on 10 meters band, and the lower bands 14 meters, and the lower will be like inverted V, antennas, loop antennas like K9AY and other loop antennas. I'll experiment with it, and the main task to build remote position based on SDR radios. It will be SDR2DX radios. I think maybe 2 or 3 radios here, and also will be I'm put here Calibri DDC receivers like sorry, better, like just for RXs, for skimmering, and just for listening frequencies, bands, and I will put here antenna rotator on the mast, and I'll try to edit. I think our programmers to help me put full control of rotator and information about beaming, about azimuth of antenna to remote control protocol. I think they help me to put control commands to TCI interface, and we will have and we can control it from your loggers, but not from RS232 comparts interfaces, and via TCI interface, and will be very interesting, I think so. And I will build it step by step. I will record videos about it, and we will try who wants to build it. Own station, remote station, will have information how to build it, how to connect it, how to adjust the remote control, how to adjust antenna switch, because our VLAN switch now controls directly and not tied to ExpertSDR system, to ExpertSDR software, and I'll try to put our VLAN switch as a part of full system to ExpertSDR3 to remote control. Try put here to ExpertSDR3 software rotator control, azimuth control. It should be scalable. You have, for example, possibility to add 1, 2, 3, 10 rotators, 1, 2, 3, 10 antenna switch or other switch to control some PAs, maybe antenna switch, bandpass filters, blocks, and other, and all it will be added to remote control. And I think it will be a good base for us, for Expert Electronics, for our programmers to play with a real remote position and control it. Think about Stepwire, Urban Beam. Yes, it's very good antenna. Why not? Why not? It can be connected to remote radio and the control from here. Why not? But I think we should start with our hardware which we have here, and the next step to use other antennas, for example, antenna switch, PAs, because as I know, RF kit manufacturer from Germany put or maybe planning to put TCI interface to their PA, and it can be connected to our ExpertSDR3 system software, directly via LAN. And our next step is add TCI interface to remote position to server and to server software, and you can connect PA which placed on your remote position to server software, to server PC, and control it remotely without any issues. And yes, you are right. Dear friends, ask me if you have any questions. All my themes, all my information was transmitted to you now, and I think next Friday I'll meet you here, and we will go next. We'll talk about other news. I'll show you how works ExpertSDR3 version 0.90 with real antennas, and you will prepare other questions for me for next Friday, and we will talk about SDR radio, about ExpertSDR software, what's new, and next steps. And I'm in my plan to prepare a video for you. It's like a short presentation about Expert Electronics company. I'm planning to walk under different rooms and show you how we live in here, where place the programmers, constructors, where place the assembling stuff, and others, our guys and girls, and so on. Okay, is there a beta version? Beta version is our beta version. I'm not sure beta or alpha, but maybe beta, because previous version was 8.08 and next version 0.9. Usually programmers set increase digit from previous when they made a big improvements inside the software. I don't know. I'll ask about it. Maybe I'll answer you in comments under this video when stream will be recorded and posted on YouTube on my channel. Thank you very much, all you for your was here, and I hope to see you here next month, and we will talk about SDR radio. See you next week. Thank you very much. Here was Vasily, RN6 LHF, and a little note. I'm in my plans to start working in air with the amplifier. I think maybe from September or maybe end of September. I'm in my plans to work 1-2 hours every day, maybe every 2 days, and in the week. And I hope you to listen in the air. We have good conditions on 20 meters band on higher frequencies. Maybe on 20 meters we can hear you together and me and make a curse. So thank you very much. Bye bye. 73 RN6 LHF was here. Stay on my channel. Bye.